What's up, Dreamedia family? This is Zach and Chase, and today we are going to be deep diving into Lutron Luxury. If you want automated lighting, shades, and cool addressable RGBW lighting control for your entire home, we are your industry leaders offering the best of the best brands. Today I have Chase here, and we're going to deep dive into this intuitive interface, which will show you how the product works. Let's go! All right, welcome back, Dreamedia family. I'm gonna toss it off to Chase, our regional sales manager here in Colorado. If you guys are wanting to put in some automated shades, automated lighting, complete audio video throughout every single inch of your home, Chase is putting in these massive systems into many $10, $20 million homes, all the way down to a couple $1 million homes. We have packages for everybody. So in today's video, he's gonna be breaking down this app that gives you a visual representation and kind of guides you through what you could expect out of a Lutron system. I'm gonna pass it off to Chase. Go ahead, Chase, take it away.
Thanks for bringing me on, Zach. Yeah, so Lutron is the name of the game when it comes to lighting control, wellness, just actually physically controlling the way your space works for you, whether that's keeping the sun out, that's matching the exact color of the sun with the proper Kelvin, going crazy with 16.7 million RGB addressable color options in the Ketra lineup, or something more simple like a dimmer. So typically, if you reach out, we're gonna meet up in person. I'm gonna have a Lutron kit with me that's got examples of our shades, all the style brackets, the style fabrics, pretty much everything you can dive into. You can physically play with Ketra, yada, yada. Well, that meeting ends and you always have more questions, or maybe you are in an area where I am not so easy to meet with. You can kind of dive into this Lutron Luxury app and experience some of what we would go over in the kit digitally, as well as navigate through inspiration galleries. So we'll just dive straight into this, but we can break down lighting, shades, control options, integrations they work with. You can set your own favorites on the app if there's something you like, so you can come back, look at it later, maybe show another family member. Or again, that just curated gallery of Lutron projects that really just shows off what a finished piece looks like. I know you're imagining it, you've got your room dimensions, it's kind of hard to get in there. Look at physical places in person. So we're gonna go ahead and just dive right into it. We'll start with the luxury gallery. Then we're gonna take our deep dive into lighting, shades, and controls individually. We can dive into the integration tab. There's not much going on here. That's more of a question for your integrator, or if you already have a control system to check if if this is a viable solution for you. So without further ado, we're gonna go ahead and dive into the luxury part of the app, the luxury tile, which is gonna bring us to our gallery. All right, guys, so we're gonna dive into this luxury tab, which is gonna be kind of our inspiration gallery. We're just gonna dive into everything so you have a rough template of where to find things in the app if you're trying to do this at home, as well as just experiencing it. This is an iPad only application. You're not gonna be able to download it on your iPhone or your Android. It's iPad only. If you do have an iPad though, this is fun just to play around with. So we're gonna click on the luxury tab there. Now we're getting Lutron Luxury Unrivaled Light, Precision Shades, Handcrafted Controls. Okay, let's go into Art of Effortless. So here, these are more of ways Lutron will work with your life with some pictures here. So, 60 years, Lutron is the company that invented the first solid state dimmer, the founder of Lutron. So they're the ones that put dimming technology into our life as a whole. They're clearly still the best at it. So that's always pretty cool.
Ever was actually a Lutron day.
Yeah, solid state dimmer invented by Lutron's founder, guys. This first tab, guys, has more of promotional videos, but you can see some very elegant Lutron work here. I'm not gonna play through this whole video because you guys can download the app, experience this for yourself. Gorgeous example, beautiful granite, using angled lights to accent all of that. So we're just gonna get through this gallery, guys, because you guys can really dive into this on your own when you're exploring. That's kind of the point of the app. So let's go to our luxury gallery now, and let's just take a look at some of what's going on here. So what we've got in this space, guys, is some Rania track lighting. We've got some Rania can fixtures recessed into the ceiling here. Now, what does that enable us to do? That's going to enable us to do the candlelight 1400 Kelvin up to the 10,000 Kelvin Arctic sky, moonlight, peak sunlight, a warm sunset, anything in between that. Gorgeous space here. Let's go ahead. All right, so this is pretty cool. We've clearly got some Rania or Ketra downlights in the ceiling here. And we've got the square finish there, and they appear to be on their natural daylight curve. So this is later in the evening. We've got our shades closed in the space. You've got some palladium wire-free shades in the background there. So we're at a warmer Kelvin here, probably 1800, 2200, probably closer to the 1800 range. And there we've got this beautiful fixture that has Ketra light bulbs in it, allowing us to do this really cool candle purple effect, which we're actually going to dive into physically in Zach's house in a little bit here. And this just goes on and on. This is an example of a pocket mounted shade where it's mounted up into the ceiling. You don't see the roll at all, and then it kind of comes down out of the ceiling. Don't want to waste too much time here. But this just gives you inspiration on ways accent lighting. Oh, guys, if you check out the mirrors in this contemporary bathroom from South Florida, you see that accent lighting behind the mirrors? I love that. It may be a little cheesy. That's one of my favorite ways to do accent lighting in a bathroom. It really makes like your face pop. If you guys have ever seen those backlit mirrors. All right. And then there's a Lutron Stories tab, guys, which goes into real homeowners' experiences with Lutron. So we're playing the beginning of this video here. Obviously, if you want to listen to it, there is audio if you're using the app. But this just goes through their whole experience, what it was like putting in Lutron, challenges they've overcome, decisions they had to make. Again, it's just there for inspiration to help you along your journey. So that kind of finishes our Lutron Luxury tab. That's really a tab for you to play around in, not much eye candy for me to show you other than some of the pictures. You have a favorites tab here. That is for you to assign favorites. I'll assign a favorite somewhere so you guys can see that in the video. But then when you go ahead and click on favorites, you'll have some favorites there to easy find. So let's dive into lighting. So as soon as we click on lighting, we've got Ketra, Lighting Seas, and Design with Light. So let's go ahead and dive into Ketra lighting. So I'm going to first play the natural show. We're going to show a physical example of this. When you meet me, you're going to have an example of this. But this is that natural time curve that your lights are going to follow when you turn them on and off throughout the day, which matches the Kelvin of sunlight. So you can see now we're at noon. It's really bright, really vibrant. And now we're going to warm down through moonlight, from blue through the moonlight, down into sunset, down into candlelight. I have been living with this, Zach, for about the last month, just to see what it would, you talk about it, you know all the specs. What's it like living with it? Dude, it's been life-changing. Waking up in the middle of the night, you're ready to use the bathroom, you hit a light, it comes on like a lit candle, doesn't bother you at all. We actually have it in our house to where it goes to a scene Emily made at night. Around 6 p.m. it switches. So our main light's candle, side lights are purple. Guys, it's so cool. And just going through the day, like I've never realized how much easier it is to cook in the kitchen at mid-daylight when the well aren't like red or orange in the kitchen, or because typically, so what I've done in my house is I've either got very bright Kelvin bulbs or very warm Kelvin bulbs. And certain times of the day they're killer. The rest of the time they're inconvenient.
Yeah.
And you're like, it's too well lit. It's not well lit enough. This just automates that out of the process for us, guys.
So I wanted to add a little bit of insight into use case examples or scenarios where lighting is crucial and how it really does help your everyday lifestyle. One example is my home. I don't have Ketra. That's the next.
Not yet.
I have standard. Not yet. I have standard Lutron, but I have dimmers on every single light switch, every single linear light, every single lamp,
light fixture,
under counter lighting, over counter lighting, in cabinet lighting. Every single load in my house has lighting control on it, and I'll have to say it's been a standard now for the last probably 4 houses I've had. Day one, the first thing that gets put into the house is lighting, and then I order my shades. As soon as I close on that house and I know that I got it, I'm ordering the shades because they take 6 weeks to 8 weeks to come in. In this house, I did do Screen Innovations automated shades because I didn't have any wiring in place and I wanted to try out their lithium ion rechargeable battery
Very
with a
impressed.
magnetic charging port, and I've been very happy with them. But Lutron is the G, you know, it's the original gangster. Yeah,
While we love Screen Innovations, these motors do have a little noise,
a little bit.
And
Not
they're
quite as quiet as a Lutron
which is
Palladium.
quiet.
With
Silent.
So this is the best of the best, guys. What I have is standard Lutron dimmers controlling like 3000 Kelvin output bulbs throughout the entire home. So I get a very warm light and I can crank up the intensity, but I can't change the actual Kelvin rating. As an example, these bulbs above me are 3000 Kelvin. This fixture is 3000 Kelvin. Everything's between 29 to 3200 Kelvin.
It's a really comfortable range.
Everything is very relaxed lighting, but I don't have the ability to do focus lighting like what you have around 4000 to 4500 Kelvin, or go even lower into like very, very low candlelit, like 2000 Kelvin.
Yeah.
An example is right now in this room, our faces, our skin tone was coming off as if we were in Hawaii.
Yeah.
So I went ahead and I busted up about 4100, 4200 Kelvin in light behind us for these cameras in order to give you a realistic effect of our face and our skin tone. So lighting is extremely important. And then of course you have all of the party scenes and things like that that I would love to utilize with Ketra if I had that system. So maybe you could talk about how some of your homeowners that you're integrating these in for are utilizing them for fun activities as well.
Yeah. Yeah. So these, Zach made a great point, right? There's standard light switches. Then you kind of get into the dimming game. All right. Then you kind of end up into the Ketra game.
3 levels.
Yeah. And we keep saying Ketra because Ketra is the big dog, right? That does the candlelight to Arctic sky, back down to moonlight, sunlight, and it does the 16.7 colors. We have a brand called Rania, which essentially helps you save, is cost effective in the fact that if it's not a space where there is, or you desire RGB, you can go ahead and just do the natural daylight curve. There's something else I want to talk about. So there's two ways to deal with these curves. So the way my house is set up and what I think is the best utilization for me is this daylight curve, right? So when I wake up, we start with candlelight, we go up to the moonlight, I keep saying that. The other option is warm dim, which I haven't discussed, I don't think at all. So warm dim is gonna be the Kelvin of the bulb is dependent on the brightness of the load at that point, right? So if you go ahead and put it up at 100, it's gonna be a really bright bulb Kelvin. As you bring it down and dim it, it's going to warm the bulb all the way down. So depending on your use case scenario, that may be best for you because that gives you the control to say maybe your default on light is at 75% and it's that nice orange glow. When you crank it up to 100, it's pretty much white down to candlelight. I don't like that because I really like living with the space naturally. And it's very stunning to be in a space where the Kelvin is matched with the Kelvin outside of the sunlight. That's a very cool experience that I'm not ready to give up. Warm dim is awesome though. So that was our natural show. We're gonna dive into our full spectrum with which is what Zach wanted me to get into. So let's go ahead, look at this warm, cool real quick. So these are our G, they're not track lights, guys. They're more like track fixtures. We'll go ahead and show some on screens of that at some point.
This is the stuff I'm excited about,
Yeah.
guys. Ketra is industry leading. If you're going to put a control system, a lighting control system in your house, this is what you want in 2025. This is what I'm going to be putting in the next house.
Yeah. So as you can see here, we've got Arctic sky at 10,000 all the way down to 1400 candlelight Kelvin there. That's the whole spectrum that it fades throughout the day. Now we're going to take it over to our full spectrum RGB. And as you can see, something like this is just gorgeous in a space, can bring it to life. Rainbow, probably a little much, but if you can imagine, maybe you mix some candle lights into those bedside lamps. Maybe you've got that purple or like a blue, maybe a magenta, really light dim on the track, and then a little brighter for your candlelight bulbs. Now you're talking, now we're building a space for you. And this is more of a mood lighting. They just put this in here. Actually, this is exactly what I just talked about. Thank you, Lutron. We're going from magenta right down to a candlelight, and that pretty transition. It looks really warm. It brings life to the space. And it's pretty hard to explain this, but something Ketra does really well you may experience this if you have LEDs. Let's say you're shining 2 different color LEDs at the same picture. You're gonna end up with almost like a rainbow effect on the picture, right? Where the nodes of the LEDs are crashing. Lutron has proprietary software to make sure that we don't end up with that, right? So if you throw a purple and a magenta, you're not gonna get this weird offshoot color. You're going to get those 2 colors. So we've got our 2-inch recessed downlight. This is my favorite in-ceiling light from Ketra. This is gonna come with a circle, a square, capped finish, mud-in finish, or flangeless finish on each of those. Same thing for our D3s. Let's say you built your house, you didn't get a hold of Dreamedia quick enough. You've got some cans in the ceiling already. You wanna move to Ketra or Tyrannia, that's okay. We've got our D4R retro downlight. So that goes into the ceiling, will replace your can, doesn't require the whole box housing to be in there. A little more labor than doing the fixtures ahead of time, but they're actually cheaper cost-wise too. So depending on your project, it may make more sense to put the retrofits even in as a brand new fixture, but that's what we're for. Now we've got our slim bars, guys. These are very similar to the G2s that we just looked at when we did the color spectrum across the drapery, as well as the warm, cool Kelvin spectrum there. They're just for different applications based on how much room you have. But these linear light bars are really sweet because it's essentially like taking track lighting, taking like an LED strip lighting to the next level. These are tracks like I would put in a commercial venue to uplight a stage or something. And that's gonna allow us to mix and match colors across modules while keeping kind of that LED hidden bar finished. Now we've got our lamps. So these are gonna be our most common applications. And Zach and I are gonna be diving religiously into the S30 and the A20 lamp pretty soon. These screw into standard Edison fits, right? So any light fixture you have that you screw a light bulb into, it's probably an Edison fitting. These are how you retrofit maybe a lamp like Zach has back here that's gorgeous, but isn't a Lutron fixture per se. So this is how we do our sconces. This is, yeah.
Oh, you have it on the screen. For people who don't know what Edison means, just a standard light bulb.
Yep.
The thicker one though, they have different bases. And does Ketra have different base options?
No, at that point you'd be moving into their fixtures.
Okay, cool.
Right, so we got their fixtures.
Nice that they have these though. This is just a standard bulb, guys.
Yeah.
You can put this into any fixture.
Every theater has sconces with bulbs like that.
Boom.
Pretty much.
Boom,
Yeah.
easy.
All right, so the S38 is gonna be our least common of the bulbs. What's really cool about these track lights, if you guys have seen the light tracks that go across the ceiling and then they hang multiple bulbs to spotlight artwork and stuff, that's what we're dealing with right now with our S38 and our S30. I'm typically going with our S30, guys. That's going to depend on your beam angles though, right? So we've got a little bit different control of beam angles with S38 and S30s. That's going to be for your integrator, your designer to talk about with you. But essentially, Zach, this is so cool. So like, let's say we've got a piece of artwork on the wall and we've got a track light coming at it. I can order these bulbs with a 10 degree, a 25, a 40, and a 60 degree light dispersion, right? So we are
like an angled speaker?
Yes, so we're pointing the light, right?
But recessed still.
Yes, and that's the S38. With our S30, that's now gonna open up 15 degree, 25, and 90 degree wide flood beam angles, 4 track lights. Then we've got, obviously, the bread and butter here.
So they're, just to be clear,
These are both,
these have different angles, but are they actually rotatable to where it is angled?
well, they're gonna be in a track light.
We're talking about the dispersion like this. So narrow being 10.
Yeah.
25, 40, 60 being a little more open.
Yeah.
And then the 30, what did we go to?
They're just a little different, so they're
Just a little wider.
yeah, wider on that
So
one.
if you need more dispersion, like can lights can be really cool if you want to spotlight something, but sometimes you just want to cover the whole room.
Yeah.
So like a 90 would be really good to just disperse and cover like a standard can just covering the whole
Yeah.
space.
The only time we're going to use the 90 on an S30 is on a track light scenario, right? So you've got a track light, it's coming down, it's got a right angle that's pointable already. So now we're focusing, we want 15 degrees on this artwork, and then maybe this one that hits a whole wall of artwork goes out to
So where you have different ones.
Yes.
I see.
And then our classic solution, the A20, that's your bread and butter, wide dispersion bulb.
For a minute, I thought you were saying that they created a light bulb that was recessed and angled like a speaker.
Oh, no, not
That'd be crazy.
Yeah.
That would be crazy.
Yeah, so
But these are all solutions that will solve the problem.
Yeah,
these will work for that solution.
Yeah, we can also do that with aimable cans. We just did a stunning Lutron property, guys, in which we had our lighting design friends come in and actually tune every light fixture to hit what it was supposed to in the space perfectly. What I mean by that is, the electrician goes in, hangs all the fixtures, then our lighting designers come in and they're scoping it out. So maybe that in this house, we had like a series of metal deer antlers, and he took the downlights that were just shooting down, obviously, angled them in a way to where we had like 4 antler shadows thrown across this whole wall. And it really brought the space to life. Same lights, same different, just tuning by a lighting designer. So then we've got our bulbs. They're all good there. That covers our whole lineup. And the one thing I don't think we got into, did I skip it? Okay, the track Lumiere, which is the fixture comes with the track from Lutron. You're not specifying a track later. This is when you get the actual track from Lutron. It looks really clean. The one thing that this isn't breaking down with, because we're doing Ketra right now, is our LED lights. So we have fully addressable LED strips for crown molding. Like Zach has some LED strips up above his cabinets here, and those can fully be brought into everything we're talking about. The 16.7 million LED colors, very accurate iodes, the moonlight to Arctic to sunlight. So that's kind of our lighting breakdown, guys. Now we're going to dive into the shades portfolio of the Lutron Designer app, and I'm just going to try and get through this. So why do you need shade? Well, controlling the dimmers is one part of controlling light in the home. And yeah, you can have blinds that just completely block out the sunlight or let it in. Lutron shades really let us work every part of the space to bend our house to look the way we want to. They're going to protect, Zach talks about this all the time, it's going to protect your furniture from UV. Zach's had couches ruined from not having shades in Colorado. All right, so first on shades, and one of Zach's favorite things about these shades is our Hembar alignment, guys. So if you click on this Hembar alignment tab, you're gonna see an example of what Lutron's Hembar alignment means. This is a pretty vanilla example in terms of the capabilities, because these are all the same exact shade, the same exact fabric, the same exact size window. When it gets really cool, and Zach has seen this at some of our properties, is when you've got a 14-foot window next to a 6-foot window next to a 3-foot window, and you watch the big one come up and it grabs the smaller window Hembar, and then it grabs the next one, and they move together.
We just recorded this 12,000 square foot property, and it had that massive 20-foot window, and then it had 2 little 12-foot windows. They weren't that level.
No, but
massive windows, but smaller windows, and then a big one. Show all of them with that Hembar alignment, because it's sexy.
It's hard to tell how satisfying this line is.
So satisfying.
Until you hit your shades and they don't do it.
And they're going people with like Hunter Douglas and stuff, and every shade's doing different stuff. It looks so janky.
No. So the motors are calibrated together, and guys, I'm really excited to talk about this, but this same care to alignment with shades pulls over into our Ketra light colors and how the bulbs age over time and color match technology. But let's keep moving. That's going to be so cool to dive into. Whisper quiet. You hear us say that all the time. There's no way to know this unless you see these in person. Any shade manufacturer is just going to show you a video of their shade with the motor volume turned down if it's loud. These things are silent. Like if they're moving behind you, you don't even hear these Lutron shades. The other ones, maybe you'll hear a motor, maybe you'll hear the fabric scratching as it rolls up. All of that has been dealt with in Lutron's design. And then there's our power options. This is pretty simple. So these are our Palladium wire frees. These are gorgeous, guys. I don't want to spend too much time because we'll dive into this on the bracketing. But this is our D-cell line that's good for 4 to 8 years and getting longer due to spring compression technology and charging a spring almost like you would a capacitor to take load off of the D-cell batteries and make them last even longer. Why would we go with the D-cell battery in 2025 over lithium-ion rechargeable? Well, the lithiums, they're going to lose capacity over their life. If you have these shades for the next 15 years, the first battery change, the last battery change, they're going to be just as long outside of use case scenario. Whereas something like a screen innovation, which we love, these lithium ions, eventually they'll stop holding a charge as much, really long time out. You may have to replace the battery, you may have to charge them often. That is taken care of here with the way Lutron powers. And then there's, guys, our natural light optimization, which is another like PR style video that you guys will be able to watch at your house. But this is just a deep dive into how we take everything we just talked about with lighting everything we talked about with shades, bring it into a cohesive environment and just make your space work for you. All right, so that's going to take us out of our shades. Just a quick overview there of the shade overview. Now we're going to do our openness simulator. This is something that I've always wanted. It's hard to show. Zach, you got to see this. This is maybe one of the coolest part of the app. This is the shade section called the openness simulator. So instead of me carrying around my fabric booklet that we've displayed, where it's like, this is 10%, this is 3%.
Yeah, and holding it up to the window.
I'm going to click this openness simulator. We can upload our own image of our house to test what the openness factor would look like through our window.
View.
Yeah, so but we'll just go ahead and click this pull and patio view real quick. And so this is 10% openness.
That's really cool.
And guys, you can upload your own and you can pick shade color. Do you want a black? See, so that's one of my favorites, like a 10% black at night. We can take this and look at the different openness factors down to 1%. So you can see that 10 to 1.
Really?
And the full blackout privacy, right? See, and this is why when they go, Chase, why do you want to pick all these different fabrics? Well, if you want to sheer in a bathroom or something, you're going to want something like that.
It's so important.
The bedroom,
specifically pick.
you're going to want this blackout.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Not always.
Not always.
I picked that.
If you've draped and shades, I would say open always.
Well, and when we did our shades initially, we didn't have drapes. And now that we have drapes, I may
Switch out to an openness factor.
I kind of like being able to see out. In my last home, I had the 10%, and I had them on all the windows.
We can solve that.
I liked it.
Dual rollers.
Or
Dual roll. You can pick when you want to look outside or when you want complete and utter privacy.
my man's got solution.
Yeah.
My man's got solution.
All right, guys. Last thing on this openness factor is, oh man, this 1% black looks really good with this forest in the background. I can go ahead and drag my shade up as if it was set halfway up and look at the contrast between all these as well. With the shade down, I love that tool. That's one of the hardest things about picking a fabric. By far, I think the hardest thing is
It's a hard decision.
it's easy to see a fabric you like and be like, I love this fabric. It'll work with our furniture. But then it's just like, what is my experience? Yeah. So that's our Discover Openness tool from the shades. Let's go to our shade styles, and we've broken this down, guys. So we're just going to do a quick overlay. This is for your inspiration here. So let's click on our shade options. So right now we're looking at Palladium wire-free roller shades. You can look at the overview of them, the specifications. We can go ahead and switch this over to honeycomb, which is really good insulation properties. Maybe not my favorite aesthetically. It just depends on what you're looking for. Honeycombs are pretty common. If you've got Hunter Douglas shades, you probably have some honeycomb motorized shades or honeycomb drawstrings. Then we've got our wood blinds, guys, which come in 18 unique finishes. These are handcrafted wood blinds. They're awesome. We can go all the way down to a maple, a cherry, a white pine. Pick the wood that you like. Pick the style you want. We've got different hanging mounts. The one in the picture example is a metal black finish, a metal white finish, kind of like the metal finish that Zach has on his Screen Innovation shades back there. But then we've got this nice Easton wood finish and this Morgan kind of, I guess like Gothic architectural. There's options there for what you're looking for. Then there's our horizontal sheer blinds, which get no love in the industry. They deserve to. This is a combination between a honeycomb and a wood blind. So you're going to get the best of both worlds in this product. You're going to be able to have that honeycomb with the window dropped where it's letting light through. Then you can tilt the blinds down to let even less light or more light, and then you can just pick them up. So it's a very flexible, probably the most flexible single option in the entire lineup. Then we've just got a quick example of our raise and our tilt control here. So in the morning, they've got the window open. In the afternoon, they've got it dropped, but they've got the wood blinds flat, so it's letting as much sunlight as possible. Now they've still got the honeycomb down, but the wood blind section closed to let no light in. Really flexible shade. Again, not enough love in the industry. So those are our blinds. Let me make sure I didn't miss one of the roller options really quick. I did. Okay, so now we're going to dive into our Roman shades, guys. This is essentially a shade that's a drape, right? So you guys have seen these. The drape pulls up and then they tie it at the top of the bow, and then when you want to drop it, you pull the bow and it drops it. So that's this, but motorized. So you pick out your favorite fabric option. We work with drape shops. We have specifiers, so if you reach out to me, we'll get draping creation handled as part of your process of interfacing with me through your Lutron design process. These are really cool. If you don't like the roller shades, you're big on drapery, maybe you've got a few big motorized drapes that are a pain to get up to, maybe you need a step stool, this is the solution for you. Those Roman shades are sweet. Then we've got our tension shades, okay, which I'm really excited about. Never used them. We're about to put one in. So these were designed originally for commercial sunroofs, guys. So when you're in a commercial building and you're looking up and they've got these flat roofs on top with windows, or they've got them pitched at an angle, but they've got windows up there, your standard roller will just fall with gravity, right? Gravity is what's bringing all these motors down and up. So the tension shade is actually 2 rollers tucked in each corner, and they're going to use a tension cable to pull to each other and close in the middle. So we've eliminated gravity. Why would that be of use in a residential home? Again, sunroofs, maybe you have a specific window where you want the shades to close in like that as an aesthetic choice, as opposed to dropping bottom up, right? So that's something we can accomplish with tension shades. This very specific.
This house right here across the valley, they put in over the primary bedroom in the ceiling a sunroof, a giant window.
Do they have a tension shade yet?
They need one.
So that's our shade.
You should talk about that shade you're doing custom as well down in Dallas in the pocket. Talk about how you're working with the homeowner to keep it that really high quality, completely hidden, sourcing the fabric. Talk about that a little bit.
Okay.
Because I think he's touching on the fact that we can help you guys customize these systems, but I really want to drive home how literally every single aspect of these projects is 100% custom, and how getting us in on the ground floor is so important.
Yeah. Okay. So real quick before we dive into there, as we're leaving blinds and shades, custom blinds and shades, not included in this app, you need to reach out to me. You've got a trapezoid, a triangle, a semicircle, a long window, something really weird that needs a shade. Most builders don't even pre-wire them. Let's throw some B-roll up of that semicircle shade Zach and I just did up in that 20-foot window. Yeah, that was keeping the homeowners up anytime they stayed in the house for like 2 years, to the point where he was like, I don't care what it costs to get something up in that window. So those, we're able to use reverse tensioning, pick out your fabric. We can get the motor to work with a Hunter Douglas system, with a Lutron system. Those are all completely custom fabricated. Reach out if you're looking for something like that. Now we're gonna get into drapery, which gets pretty custom, like the example Zach was talking about. So these drapery track systems are essentially your curtains, right? You either have a side draw from either side, or you've got both sides, you pull them in. We're motorizing that. So you can get really heavy drapes, like up to 175 pounds, something you're not gonna wanna wrestle with, that looks really elegant and opens up the space. And that's where, when Zach was talking about, would be a great example of a really open sheer behind and a massive, beautiful drape to just completely block out the sunlight. Good thing about drapes, guys, is because we build the tracks custom and we can order them the way we want, we can pretty much get rid of light gap and make it much less harsh, because we can, if this is the edge of my window, we can have the drape curve around and hit the wall here, so our light gap is spilling out this way and not hot. So there's a bunch of ways to do that. Drapery gets really cool. We have this method called pocket mounting drapery, which is what Zach talked about in our Texas home that I can't wait to bring Zach out to at some point. We've got this massive L-shaped window, all open, glass, sealed to glass, no wood frame, nothing. We have a 170-inch pocket that all of the fabric disappears into and then comes out and tracks itself around the window. That was all set up. I actually took, when I was in Texas working on the deployment of the initial Josh system, and was there to build out the Lutron plan, took both homeowners to a local drape shop that I'd pre-vetted to make sure that they would work flawlessly with our products and also be cost effective. We met up there, they picked out their fabric. I was the one that had the quote generated from them, from the fabric company, sent that as a joint quote. So just trying to take time off. Finding a drape shop can be difficult. Getting those guys to respond can be difficult. Let me handle that for you. If we reach out and I'm specifying the drapes, motors, I will 100% be helping you find a drape designer. We have drape designers nationwide. Really easy for us to source them, especially in Texas and Colorado right now. But my Denver fabricators will make awesome drapes for anyone. So just reach out. We can include that as part of the process of getting your motorized fabric, specifying the drape for you from one place. Because typically what you're going to do is go get a motorized drape from someone. They're going to order it. They're just going to send you a spec sheet, and then you're supposed to navigate, taking the spec sheet, trying to explain the system to the fabric producer. If they've never worked with the motorized Lutron track, they're going to have no idea what you mean. It's literally like a 70-page document you've got to course through to figure it out. So let us handle that hard part for you. We're done with lighting. We're done with shades. Let's dive into our controls. So there's a couple control options you're going to have with Lutron. It gets very expansive. We're just going to brush over this super quick. Lutron is very proud of simplicity and elegance, even though they do have those 6-button up-down solutions that I can't stand seeing, because you never have a lighting space that you need 6 individual commands for, especially when you have voice control. But let's dive into some of these. This is our Alisse keypad. Can't believe we're diving into like the coolest keypad first, but let's just go ahead and knock this out. So these come in single, 2, 4, and 6-button grids. That's custom engraving you're looking at down there. And these are just, I mean, you've seen the Alisses, right?
Yeah, it's insane.
They're stunning.
It reminds me of like a classic nostalgic hotel.
Okay, and these are going to come in metal and glass finishes. There are even producers that we can get that'll put these keypads into granite. Not an Alisse keypad, but essentially a touch control keypad that can integrate into granite. So like something like a wine cellar, something like maybe a kitchen counter that's not less used if you want a lighting control on there because you're worried about your fingers being dirty all the time with the light switches.
Or like, I'll tell you what, it would have been nice if instead of having these nasty plates all around my backsplash throughout the entire kitchen, we had one Alisse for the whole entire backsplash instead of having 20 brown plates all the way around my kitchen.
So this is really cool, guys. And this is one of the coolest parts of the app here is the custom engraving. So you guys see this customize button at the bottom, hit that, go wild. You get to pick all your brass finishes, your glass finishes. You're going to get to pick your button layout. Each of your grids, you're going to get to put on your custom engraving, try them out. Really cool stuff. We're going to jump into Palladium, which are my favorite. Like the Alisse is very modern looking, very different. The Palladium kind of fits into that old school architecture of the rectangle, goes into a light switch, but very nice. So these come 1 to 4 button, which is all you'll need. Again, these are metal and glass finishes. And through the customize here, I can pick between my plastic, metal, glass, all the colors that come with them. The glass is only black and white, but they look so slick. There's so many good metal options, guys. You can also customize these. I'm sure you'll find what you're looking for here. That's why it's a curated library, but we can order custom finishes as well. So as you can see, this is an example of a 2-button gang with a 3-button and a 4-button for some reason. So that's our Palladium. Now we're going to dive into our Sonata, which is pretty common. We're not going to dive into the Homework C-Touch line. We've seen those in a lot of the Lutron homes. Those are those older school looking smart light dimmers, right? Where they've got the little plastic bubbles as buttons. So Sonata kind of mixes our Palladium with that style and is going to allow us to get an LED feedback. We can go with a gloss or a satin finish. These are all plastic, this line. And you can go from 2 to 4 button, like a 3-button up-down raised configuration. Pick your colors out, kind of see what's going to vibe. This is going to be really helpful for you guys when you're meeting with your designers, right? When you're going to your designer, you've been talking to us, maybe I didn't interface direct. I'll meet with your designers. I just met with a designer last week for 3 hours going over Lutron in detail. The homeowners weren't even there. But like, let's say we've met, or your designers met with me, and now there's another meeting and I'm not. This is going to be your best friend. This whole tool here, how to get through that. So we'll just go ahead, and that's our keypad designer, which we dove into already. We'll just look at some of our keypad gallery for inspiration here. This is one of my favorite integrations right here. So this is a Palladium black metal keypad with a Lutron black metal faceplate with a Josh microphone retrofitted right in to look seamless. This is one of my favorite. It's a Palladium with Josh AI combo. Here's an Alisse. We've got a recessed light, a solar shade, a blackout shade, a decorative. I'm guessing that's some sort of, spotlight, art light, and then our up-down controls there. This is your standard switch. So nothing crazy there. Just showing you what it looked like. That's a stunning brown metal finish on a wood backsplash of an Alisse keypad that looks awesome. So just dial through this, find your inspiration. Here's exactly what I was talking about earlier, the C-Touch keypads, where you've got those old school 6 buttons, kind of too many options. I'm actually just now doing a C-Touch project with 260 light loads, guys, and we're only doing 4 buttons. So while you're looking at a 6 button up down, don't use more than you need. It's confusing. You're wasting your time. You're never going to use it. You're paying for someone to program it. So just spec us in. I love doing, Zach, and we'll break this down in our Ketra, something like an energized scene, which is going to be a bright white, right? Maybe cleaning the area, maybe preparing food. A relaxed scene, which is going to take us into those warmer Kelvins. And then the other 2, let's get crazy. Maybe that's your shade toggle. Maybe that's a music toggle. Maybe it's just more lighting control, more scenes, maybe like a dine scene, a party mode for Ketra. So
Karaoke.
yeah, karaoke mode. So that's kind of how you could dive into that. And then there's just this integration tab, guys, which is pretty hilarious because the only integration in here is the Josh app with Lutron. And I love Josh. We're going to see if we can show off some Ketra through Josh today here at Zach's house. If we can't, I'll shoot some B-roll at my house of it. But that's just telling you this is like the most rock solid integration. I can, from the light bulb in Josh, pick any color, any Kelvin, anything. What's really cool about the Lutron app that I'm hoping makes its way through integration, guys, let's say I'm looking at one of my Ketra light fixtures or a group of them, and I'm clicked on it and I'm looking at the color spectrum. There's going to be a picture of a camera. You can click that. It pulls out a pinpoint laser on the middle of your camera. You highlight whatever color you want. That bubble will change that color. You hit select. Now your light bulbs are the color of whatever you found in real life that you want to emulate in the digital world of the space. Yeah, super cool stuff. So that is a way too long breakdown of the Lutron Luxury app and how it can help you in your homework, your exploratory inspiration, anything you need, or just to review some of the things that you went over your meeting with me, diving into your Lutron system. So Lutron Designer, iPad app, great for inspiration. Look at the technology in real world applications. If you want to touch it, schedule a meeting with me. I'll bring pretty much exactly what's in this Lutron Designer kit physically in person.
Big thanks, Chase, for giving us the lowdown on this incredible technology from Lutron. Chase is working with home builders, luxury designers all around the country. And we just wanted to share that we have a design center located right in Denver that you can fly into, meet with Chase and meet with your designers, check out all these fabrics, hold them, touch them, feel them, see the visuals. Yeah. Like we actually did a video on CET and Associates, which is, I believe, who you're referring to, one of our distributors down there. They have a showroom, which I'll drop the link up here, I believe, or here. We'll drop the link up there for you guys to see that showroom. And if that's something you're interested in viewing, it has a massive video wall. It's got a bunch of various rooms. It's got shades. It has lighting. It has audio, video. It has indoor and outdoor shades, pretty much everything. But check out that experience center. We walk through and we talk about a lot of these similar concepts and similar series within the brand of Lutron. And if it's something that is right for you, schedule a time with Chase to meet at that location, and then we'll really dive deep into hand curating a special package just for you and your new custom home. Thanks, guys.